Now, here it is. I go to the pool, and the freaking ass people harass the shit of me out of the pool. And, I communicated with the police officer. They sent 2, in fact. And they knew I was already leaving. So they're just staging shit. And one of the concerns I have is the fact that, well, no, the police officer handled it very well. I told them that there was a clique of women that were harassing me at the pool. And it's been 2 years. They're looking for an excuse to harass me. They're looking for anything. I could have been freaking ass asleep. And they would have said that somebody was fighting in my sleep. But anyways, I communicated with the police officers and the woman. And I'm under no obligation to talk to these people. I told them I didn't have an attorney present. I said I'd like to have an attorney. So I'm under no obligation to speak to anybody about anyone. And I am entitled to reside where I want to reside. And go out in public when I want to go out in public without freaking ass being targeted by freaking ass people. And so, it's been a quiet 2 years. But see, 2 years are up. And so now I'm being kicked out of the house by my son because 2 years are up. They've moved me around every 2 years. It's like I could freaking ass be half dead and they would tell me to move. Doesn't matter. 2 years are up. And I lived in one place for 22 years. And since I filed an EEO complaint, they have me freaking ass moving around every 2 years. Every 2 years they have me moving around. Every 2 years to create instability. Now, I was already looking for an apartment yesterday. And my son gives me an eviction notice today. So, I was looking for an apartment yesterday. And he gives me an eviction notice today. And he doesn't like that my therapist says I'm totally normal and how to handle things when people harass me. And freaking ass people, they don't like it when I handle it the way my therapist tells me. They get pissed off and call the police. And then the freaking ass police, I'm glad that 2 of them showed up. The one said, hey, not a problem. You're here to work out. Go back into the pool. You can go back to the pool. Not a problem. And I give him a written statement of the harassment that these people were doing. They were coming to my freaking ass chair where I was sitting. They walked to my location and I didn't walk to their location. And then my freaking ass son says, oh, one of the conditions, the condition was that I went to a therapist and I didn't. They deemed me normal and you don't like the freaking ass answer. Well, tough shit. Tough shit if you don't like their answer. Just like tough shit that these people who were harassing me didn't like the answer that my therapist told me to tell them. No different. You're invading my space. This place is 2,000 square feet. Why are you setting objects right by my feet? Why are you staging these kids to run almost hitting me where I'm sitting when your freaking ass chair is 20 miles away? Why are you guys taking my picture when you place freaking ass kids at my feet and then take the picture? That makes me feel uncomfortable. Why do you have an underwater camera following me around inside the pool? And an above camera and an underwater camera. And trailing me all when I'm inside the pool. That makes me feel uncomfortable. Now, I was looking for apartments yesterday, and my son gives me an eviction notice. He doesn't like the answer that my therapist said, and neither did the damn people that were harassing me. What my guidance was to these people from my therapist? If they're invading your area, don't hesitate to tell them. And the response from these freaking ass people said, if you don't like your picture taken, don't come to the pool. And more importantly, they had their kids in the water, purposely shoving water in my face. And then as soon as they passed me, they wouldn't be kicking and splashing water at all. Only when they approached me. Kicking water in my face and in my eyes. And there was a group of them. A clique of people that were there harassing me deliberately and only to stage a police officer. So who is really the one that's creating an atmosphere of harassment? Is it the police department? Is it the police department of Castle Rock, Colorado? Are there two police departments? One that does corruption and the other one that does good? In the same environment? But also I reported that my grandchildren, I asked them this, why are you guys here? I already got a card from a police officer, which told me that it was no problem. He took my statement and said you can go back into the pool. I have just as much rights to be in a pool or in a public place as all these freaking ass people. I have that right. I have that right. Whether people like it or not. I don't bother people. I do not bother people at all. So because I don't bother people, they stage shit to have people bother me, and if I say anything to them, like I did, like my therapist told me, don't hesitate to tell them if they're invading your space. They didn't like the answers. And so I was set up the other day going to the pool. And they had every intention of calling a police officer that day because they staged a police officer a block away from where the pool was when I arrived. Meaning they had every intention of staging the police department. So who's corrupt? The police department in Castle Rock, Colorado? Or the people? Which one of them are corrupt? Both? I did ask the police officers here, why are you here? Oh, we're just following up on a community check. I don't have a problem with that. I do not have a problem with that. And I don't have to tell these police officers shit. I'm under no obligation. I'm under no obligation to tell them anything. They took a statement from me. And I was released by the police officer that interviewed me. So there was no reason for them to show up here whatsoever. And what the police officer told me, if you have any problems with these people, call me. That is what he told me. David Knight, Castle Rock, Colorado, police officer. So who's staging what? And why do they want me to leave every 2 years? What is so significant about every 2 years that people want to uproot me? I did bring up to the police officer that was here, they asked me, well, is there any problems in the house? I said, well, yeah, I had concerns about my grandchildren being abused. And I called that in. How come no one showed up for that? I brought it up. Why didn't anybody bring that up? And also he asked me, Well, do you have intentions of hurting yourself? Well, ask her. What was my condition at the pool? Great, just the way you look now. Working out. Taking care of myself. I take care of myself. Stay physically fit. And I told him, I don't want you here to bullshit stage mental illness if that's what you guys are going to try to falsify right now. Because it's the same tactic that was done when I filed an EEO complaint with the Department of Defense when I was fighting for women's rights. They try to claim mental illness. And by the way, I went to a therapist and they deemed me totally normal. But I do have anxiety. And they give me instructions for that. And then I illustrated why or what occurs and how I handled it. And an example was when the parents were staging their freaking ass kids right in my face practically and poking me. Take your kids away from me. Get your kids now. I handle it very well. In fact, I told her, I put myself in an environment where there were a lot of kids. And I did exceptionally well, considering those kids were, there was kids everywhere. And I put myself in that environment. And I did exceptionally well. And when they were harassing, and I'm not sure if this stopped, harassing me, I did what my therapist told me to do.